Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Heather with Creativity by Heather BE, and today I am so excited to be unboxing my very first Pink and Main Crafty Courtyard kit. So I am going to do a quick unboxing here in the beginning, and then I just combined the unboxing with the 5 cards 1 kit. This is, as I said, my very first Pink and Main Crafty Courtyard kit. This is their monthly subscription kit. It will not be my last. I love this kit. So first you get this mesh bag, which is 8.5 by 11 inches, so it's huge. You could store your kit in there. You could store other things to take on the go. It's very heavy duty. The zipper is very heavy duty as well, which I love. And so just starting out, just love the bag. So this is the little card you get. And this palette here is probably my favorite thing about the kit. I know that sounds crazy, but it is. So what I did is I went through my inks and I picked out some inks that would match up with the palette. So I used mostly Pinkfresh Studio. I chose Candy Violet, Soft Lilac, Aquamarine. I did use a Simon Hurley Create Overzealous for the green. Then I used, the lid was coming off on me. I used Sweet Mustard for the yellow. And then I used Misty Coast for the gray. So I struggle with color and finding color palettes that I feel like go together. And so this color palette here made this kit so much fun because I knew what colors I was going to use. There was no struggling to think about it. It was all right there and everything coordinates. So these are the enamel dots with glitter, which I use continually. Excuse me, allergies are so bad right here and now in Southeast Texas. You also get a sequence mix. You get this awesome embossing folder, and this is a 6x6 embossing folder, and I will use that in the first card. You also get a 6x6 stencil, and I love that you get such a variety in the kit. You get an exclusive 6x6 stamp set, and I love this stamp set. It's so versatile. So I'm going to end up using the wedding cake, the gift, the bike, and the balloon. I'm not going to use the feather or the ice cream cone in these cards. And there's great sentiments. You're a gift to me. You're on a roll. The sky's the limit. It's a good day to eat cake. Always a good day for that. It's your time to fly. Hooray, which is the name of the kit. And you also get coordinating dies plus this great hooray die that has the outline as well as the word. And oh my goodness, these papers, you get a paper pack in here. It's 24 sheets, so you get 12, 2 of each, and they're front and back. And the paper, it has like a coating on it, but it's not, it's thick, but it's not, it has just enough coating, I guess could be. So I'm going to emboss on it, and I was kind of worried about how that would go because sometimes when you get a lot of like the coating on it, it gets really slippery, the paper, and this does not. So it embosses beautifully, and I'll show you that in one of the cards. So you get all of these different patterns back and forth. I love some of them, like there's a gray one that has some dots on it that you could use even for like winter scenes. So I just love that the paper is very versatile. You've got rainbows. Now with this one, you get the green and the gray, so you could coordinate those together. The feathers, which I just love. There's that one I think would be great for snow. And then of course ice creams, which I'll probably make some cards later on in the summer for that. So those are the papers that you get. You also get 6 sheets of colored 8.5 by 11. And this is basil cardstock, which is awesome. So I had already, when I do my 5 cards 1 kit, to kind of save time, I get everything kind of cut down and ready for each card. So that's why some of this is already cut. But you get this gorgeous violet, green, great full sheet of glitter stock. You also get 2 sheets of 110 pound. It's their ice rink cardstock, which is a white cardstock. You get a sheet of, this is almost like a fog color. And I love that the cardstock also has different textures. So you're going to see this next one, this like bluish color, the aquamarine color. It has like a dot texture to it, which I just love that the paper is very versatile, but it's great thick, heavy cardstock. Basil cardstock is a great cardstock. And then you also get the yellow. You also get the little pen. I know I pulled that up and showed you. I also want to show you, and I've showed this in one of my other videos, but it's been a while. So when I do a 5 cards 1 kit, I do it with other cards, but specifically with these, I have a sketchbook that I have from Erin Condren, and I just kind of draw out in my head. Now, they don't always end up that way. There's a couple of them that are going to change, but for the most part, I know kind of where I'm going, and that really helps me because I can be creative on the paper and then bring it and kind of change what I need. So for this first card, I'm going to make a shaker card using those, the sequins, and I'm also going to use the Hurley die. So I'm going to start out just doing some ink blending. And I'm going to, once I get this panel ink blended, I'm going to use the embossing folder and run it through my spellbinders and emboss it. So I am starting out with the Candy Violet. And I know Pink and Main has inks, and I'm sure they have inks that match up with these colors. I don't have any of the Pink and Main inks currently, but if you don't, just go through your stash like I did, and you can mix and match companies. You know, I've got a Simon Hurley Create in there for the green. If you've got the Concord and Ninth, if you've got Simon Says Stamp, Pure Arts, whatever inks you have, and just kind of match up the colors with that color palette. And this is a great way to kind of mix and match and go through your inks. So once I get that done, I am going to take some of the Lawn Fawn, what is it called? The Liquid Stardust, that's what it is. And I'm going to put a little bit of that on an acrylic block, and I am going to water it down a little bit because I wanted this card to have some sparkle, but it's also going to be embossed. So I didn't want the sparkle to kind of take over the texture with the embossing. So I'm going to water it down and then just flick it. And this is a water brush that doesn't have any water in it. So it's just the closest paintbrush I could find and grab. So once I get that done, I'm going to take my panel and I'm going to put it into my embossing folder. I'm going to use my Spellbinders Platinum 6, which I just recently got. I have the large Gemini and I love it, but I wanted something simple I could just bring to my desk when I wanted to do something quickly. And also, we had an ice storm in Texas about a month ago and we had no power. And so it would have been nice to have something where I could sit and craft and forget the fact that it was getting cold. So I decided that this would be a great alternative. So there you can see the awesome embossing that you get. I love using embossing folders, and you can also emboss it first and then put your ink on is another way you could do it. So I'm taking the Hurley die, and I'm not going to use the shadow. I'm just going to use the word die. I'm just trying to figure out where I want it on my panel. So I decided to put it right in the middle. And I am going to use that Hurley that I pop out in another card. I believe it's card 3. I'll use that again. So that's the nice thing about this die. If you do it as a shaker card, or even if you didn't do it as a shaker card and just put the pattern paper behind it like I am, you can get 2 cards out of that one pass of the die cutting machine. So I went through and picked out some paper that I liked and thought matched the colors in the background. And what I'm going to do, I want to get the inside of the O's, the A, and the R. So I am just laying the die cut back in there, and all of them stayed in except the A. And I'm going to take a little bit of Gina Connect glue and just dab those on those little inside pieces, and then put that die cut right back in there. Use a Tim Holtz pick tool, and they're perfectly placed. This is a really easy way to get your little pieces lined up. And it's so funny because I'm looking everywhere for the little piece that goes to the A, and when I was editing this video, right away I saw it. I mean, obviously I knew where it was, but it just, my eye pulled right to it, but it's actually stuck down in the die, which I will find here in just a moment once it gets stuck to my arm. Yay for tape sometimes. Because if it hadn't got stuck to my arm, who knows how long I would have been looking for that little piece of the A. So I'm just kind of moving those around, and this is why I like to use liquid glue on those as well, because it kind of gives you a little bit of time, and it's also on the acetate. So I did, it wasn't on camera, but I did put a piece of acetate behind this because it's going to be a shaker card. So the acetate and the liquid glue definitely gives you a little wiggle room So I'm just put the die straight up there and got our A. So now we have all the parts to the inside of our word. And you could easily just put this on the card, that panel underneath, and have a card and be done. I wanted to use the sequence that came in here, and so I decided to make it a shaker card, and I love shaker cards. So typically when I get sequence, I will open it up and either put it into one of my little containers, or I will definitely take my powder bag and run it along the sticky. And I was so excited to use these, I forgot. So that's why all of my little sequins were getting stuck. One of the things I love about these sequins is they don't have holes in them. I know some people don't care, maybe they prefer the holes. I like the flat without the hole, and so these would also be great just as embellishments on your card also. So I looked at it and I liked it, but I felt like it needed something else. So I went to the enamel dots with glitter, and I don't know why, but I struggle to place embellishments like this, but I do so much better if I have these sticky ones. I know there are several companies that have them. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's just so much easier for me if I can just have the sticky. I don't know. It sounds crazy. Leave a comment below if you do better with placing the enamel dots if they already have the sticky on the back. So there you can see I just used some of the clear or like the grayish color ones, and our card is finished. So very simple, fun, and I didn't put anything on the inside because I wanted to have this either to be anything. If I needed a birthday card, a congratulations, I can go back later and add that. So for the next card, I'm going to use the stencil, and I didn't have my camera running when I did this, but what I did is I put it through my embossing machine, and just look at whatever machine you have for the correct sandwich to do a dry embossing. And you can do these with dies. I did it with the stencil, and I love the texture that it gives to your card. And you could also, once again, go over and ink blend on it. I just chose to leave it white because I wanted to do this a very kind of clean and simple card. So I needed the cake for this card, and I decided just to go ahead and stamp out all of my images and color them all at the same time. And I did leave the coloring in. Obviously, I sped it up quite a bit. And I remembered for most of them to put my Copic caps down. I always forget to do that. So this was extremely simple coloring. A lot of the little flowers, honestly, I just used one color, and then I just went back and used the same color to make it darker and give it some shadows. So for the heart, I used RV09, and for all of the pink, I'm going to use RV09, except I'm also going to bring in RV66. For the flowers and the top of the gift, or the bottom of the gift, top of the gift, I'm going to be using BG32, and then there are some gray accents I'm going to bring in, and I use C5 and C3 for those. For the cake here with the yellow, I did use two colors because it is a larger area, so I used Y13 for my lightest color. And when I do Copic coloring, I like to lay the lightest color first and then go back in and add my shadows. It's just the easiest way for me. And so I used Y15 for the shadows, which is what I was just using there. I think that's all the colors. Yes. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The violets was V12. I used V12 for the violet in the gift. And then I'm also going to use V12 on the little cake stand that the cake is standing on. And then I'll use gray underneath. So I just did the same thing. I kept this little palette next to me the whole time I was making the cards, and I just used it to go through and find some Copics that matched up with the colors, because the nice thing with having this color palette is everything's going to match together. So I knew I didn't have to, I could do these for any of my cards, and really I could pop any of these colorings, these die cuts and stamps on any card, and they would match because all the colors are from the same color palette, which is really nice. And I'll have everything linked below. I did actually go through and link each of the Copics as well. So if you're interested in getting those colors, they're all linked below. And definitely I'll have the subscription. When I looked last night when I was doing the links, It was still available. I'm not sure when they switched to their next month one, but I'm sure the next month is just as amazing, and I will definitely have an unboxing and 5 cards for that one. I was so pleasantly surprised with this box. Just loved it. So I have the balloon, the heart balloon done. The bike was very simple. There wasn't even any like gray because it's stamped out. Now you could stamp it out in a different color if you wanted to kind of give the bike a different color than the black, but I was fine with just having the black. So all I really had to do was color the flower. It was also really fun to have a kit where there was so much great pattern paper, so I really didn't have to stamp and color very much. It was a lot of die cutting and cutting, doing different techniques, which is always fun. Sometimes just stamping and coloring for me gets a little tedious, so I like to be able to do other things. So I'm just lining up my dies, and now for all of them except the gift, because the gift is going to go inside of a card. I will do additional die cuts, 2 I think for each of them, just to give them some depth. So I just cut those in some inexpensive white cardstock. So I chose a piece of the pattern paper. This is just a diagonal stripe. I am going to use the same paper, but it's a up and down stripe, vertical stripe, and this is where I'm heat embossing on it. And I was kind of worried, like I said, because sometimes when you get that paper that has like the slickness on it, it's kind of hard, even with a Misty, to get it to stamp very well. And this did great. It didn't slip, it didn't slide. I didn't have to use like Stays-On ink. So I just did it in black ink, and then I heat embossed it in clear. So I am using, I think that was the Lawn Fawn one there, because I, in mid-filming, lost the Gina K one. They're both great glues. So I'm using a liquid adhesive. I'm just going to trim off the edge there and add my cake. And I guess for the cake I did not add any additional dimension. I know I do for the balloon and the bike. And I'm just going to add that down, and that's the card. I will take some embellishments and just put in the center of the flowers. I really wanted to keep that background open and just make this a very kind of classic, clean and simple card. I am going to put this on, mat it on like a fall gray color cardstock. And there you can see I put the embellishments in the center, and that is card number 2. All right, for card number 3, I decided to do a slimline, and I'm also using the Hooray that we cut out from the first card. So a couple of the pattern papers that I showed in the beginning, they had strips on them, and so I used both of them and cut the strips to just put an edging around the card. So I'm using those here, and it just has little flowers on it. And then what I did is I took some circle dies, and I believe these are Brutus Monroe circle dies, and I cut out one of the pattern papers, had just all these gifts scattered around, which I loved. And so I cut those, and then I used some of the lilac color paper that came with the kit, and I cut the one larger just to be able to mat those that pattern paper. I just randomly put them down on the card, and this is what I love about having a slimline card, is you have so much more kind of length to deal with. So once I get everything placed where I want it, I'm going to use the press and seal trick, which I've showed you before. It's just so simple to pick up dies once you get them placed, especially like if you're doing florals, and pick it up. Now I'm going to just go through and glue each of these down very simply, and then I will put glue on the outside. So I just wanted to make sure all of them were connected. And honestly, if you put glue on the back of all of them, you really didn't have to do that first step, but I just want to make sure everything stayed where it was supposed to. So now I'm just going to flip it back over and push it down and just carefully pull back the press and seal, and easy peasy done. So the only thing really left on this is to add the Hooray, and I decided I thought maybe I wanted a sub-sentiment with it. So I'm going to, oh, I am going to double up on this one, but I'm going to take some of the sweet mustard ink and just run it on a sheet of white paper and use that. I'll show you here in a moment. I am going to clear emboss this Hurley, and I just did that to give it some shine. I didn't feel like waiting for glossy accents to dry or anything, and this is a quick way to just give a die cut some shine. And I have had that huge thing of clear embossing powder literally for years, and I'm not even a fourth of a way into it. So it's a great investment. So there you can see I stamped out the sentiment, and I kind of looked at it and I decided that I just wanted the Hooray on the fronts, but I wanted to still use it. So I put it on the inside, and it kind of carried those colors over to the inside. And as I said in the other card, a lot of times I don't do anything on the inside of my cards, because that way it gives me the option to make them whatever card I want when I need it. So I just put the outside panel on, and there's our card. So simple, so fun, minimal coloring just on that little gift. Very fun. So for card number 4, I decided to do a gatefold card, and I have not done a gatefold card in years. So, and I realized that it does not close up all the way, and I kept trying and trying, and finally I was like, you know what? It's fine. Nobody's going to get the card and think, wait, there's about 1/8 of an inch here, I can see through it. So I just chose less frustration level. So I am taking the vertical stripes and I cut them down to where they're the same size, and I'm just putting those on the outside of the panel. This is the card that I'm going to use the bike that we colored earlier. So once I get those down, I am using a piece of the green cardstock from the kit, and I am going to stamp inside, I believe it's the, let me see. Oh, you're on a roll. Yes, I'm going to stamp that twice, and I'm using VersaFine to stamp this. I like using this ink whenever I'm doing sentiments because it's really bold and crisp. I also cut a part of the pattern paper that had some bikes on the bottom of it, and I'm just gluing that. I did leave a little bit of an edge at the bottom so you can still see that green. And I used some of the cardstock, the Aquamarine color cardstock that came in the kit. This is the textured cardstock to do the belly band. And this is what I'm going to attach the bite to. So I'm just making that. And for me, it's easier to wrap it around the card and fold it that way. Because then I just know to kind of leave a little bit of room so it'll slide up and down. And I did do 2 die cuts on the back of the bike. I wanted the bike to have a little bit more dimension. So I'm going to glue the bike on, and I am also off camera going to go in and add some of the darker pink, like the candy violet type color, some of those enamel dots on the inside. I love this card. My sister is a huge bike lover, and I thought this would be an awesome thank you birthday card for her. So there you can see, and now I'll show you in the pictures. I didn't put the embellishments on there yet, but in the pictures, there's a picture of it opened. You'll be able to see it. There we go. All right, so on to card number 5. So card number 5, I used the stencil again, and I am using some brushed Corduroy Distress Oxide and one of the large blending brushes. I don't have any of the Pink and Main blending brushes. This is one of the Ulta new ones. I do have some of the small Pink and Main ones, but I do plan on getting some more, so I will be adding the Pink and Main ones. But I just lightly on some craft cardstock, I just wanted a little bit of tone on tone with that. So I just went over, and what was nice is when I did the tone on tone, it kind of popped out and almost looked like I did it in a white ink, and I didn't. I just used the brush Corduroy on it. I'm also going to put that on a piece of the light gray. I am going to add the sentiment that says the sky's the limit, and I just cut that with the same paper. Now you'll notice I have another balloon. So I decided on my original sketch, I only had the one, and I decided that I wanted to go ahead and add a second one. So that's where I colored, and I did that in the BG32, so it's the same colors. And I'm back to my old faithful enamel dots. I think I used most of these in the kit. And I'm just taking those and placing those kind of in the centers of some of the background from that stencil. And I'm using all three colors. So I'm using the aqua, some of the clearish gray, and then also that darker. This was a very simple card. This is another one that I left the inside blank because I can pull it out and use it for a lot of different occasions. And that is card number 5. I could have gone on making card after card with this. I had so much fun using this kit. I know I sound crazy and I've said it so many times, but I was just so happy with this kit. It was just so much fun. So the cards again, you saw card 5. Here is card number 1, which is our Shaker Hooray card. And these are all on A2 size card bases with the exception of the slimline. There is our card number 2. Card number 3, our slimline. There's our gift on the inside. Card number 4 with the bike. And then our final card was the balloons. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you're not a subscriber, I hope that you'll consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit that little bell. I also have my Instagram information listed below. I'd love for you to join me over there. Thank you so much, and I hope you all stay safe and have a blessed day.